Welcome to the PowerSpeakingPro channel. This is where I give you tips to help you improve your speaking and communication skills. My name is George Murnett and glad to have you aboard. Today's video looks at Joe Biden's performance in the debate between he and Bernie Sanders on Sunday, March 15, 2020. I will focus mainly on the points which Biden did well and points which he can improve on. I'll take several clips and give you commentary about each clip. When former Vice President Joe Biden answers a question with a number of parts, he'll say, there are 3 parts, first, second, third. This is good because it gives the audience an idea about what's coming, and he can break down his answers into several smaller pieces which the audience can then understand.
But there are 3 pieces of this. First of all, I have to take...
Biden has the habit of making a statement and then qualifying it. He may make a statement such as, Trump said X, or maybe it was a little different than X, but that's not important. The main thing is the idea about what is Biden quoting Trump for.
We had our own. I think he said something like, we have the best scientists in America, or something to that effect.
Biden often starts to make a statement and then abruptly transfers to another idea. What he should try and do is gracefully transfer from his first idea to his second idea, even though he really wants to focus on the second idea.
The idea that we are not prepared for this and the other thing I want to point out, and I agree with Bernie,
although this is a small point, it still detracts from Biden's speech. When he was talking about the swine flu, he said N1H1. Well, the correct name is really H1N1.
With dealing with the viruses that the N1H1 as well.
Both Biden and Sanders seem to rail against the pharmaceutical companies about the price of prescription drugs. Bernie Sanders so much more so than Joe Biden. And a good point that Biden could have used was, Bernie, who do you think developed the stent that saved your life a few months ago? Don't you think the pharmaceutical companies deserve some benefit? And during this time of coronavirus, who are we looking towards to solve the problem? Yes, the pharmaceutical companies. So Bernie, you need to recognize the good that they do. And I intend to support the pharmaceutical companies by trying to rein in the prices, but I won't absolutely trash them the way you are.
Now, in the midst of this epidemic, you got people in the pharmaceutical industry are saying, oh, wow, what an opportunity to make a fortune. So the word...
When Biden was asked, would he implement a national lockdown in light of the coronavirus spread, Biden intelligently didn't directly answer the question the way it was asked. Of course, any good politician will not ask the question the way it was asked, but will deliver the answer that they would like to have the audience hear.
Would you take that unprecedented step of a national lockdown?
What I would do is what we did.
Biden was especially effective against Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All when they were talking about the coronavirus. And Biden said, look at Italy. They have a single-payer health plan, and it's an absolute disaster. My plan would expand Obamacare and provide good health care for all Americans.
No one has to pay for hospitalization because of the crisis, period. That is a national emergency, and that's how it's handled. It is not working in Italy right now, and they have a single-payer system. Now, with regard to...
When asked about climate change, one of the items Biden mentioned was closing down coal-fired electricity generating plants. And then Biden said to Bernie, I did that while you were standing by. That was a nice little dig without being so obvious. This shows that Biden was actually doing something to help the climate change, while Bernie Sanders was just sitting by.
that is lower than the price of coal. That's why not another new coal plant will be built. I did that while you were watching.
When Biden was asked about Sanders' plan for a revolution, Biden responded, "We don't need a revolution. We need results now. Not 4 years from now, the way Sanders is proposing." And then Biden aggressively tore into Sanders' Medicare for All plan. He did that without mercy and very effectively.
We have problems we have to solve now. Now, what's a revolution going to do? Disrupt everything in the meantime? Look, the senator talks about his Medicare for all. He still hasn't told you how he's going to ever get it passed. He hasn't told you how, in fact, there's any possibility of that happening. He hadn't told you how much it's going to cost. He hadn't tell you how it's going to apply. It doesn't kick in for 4 years even after it passes. We want a revolution. Let's act now.
Many times Biden was willing to go on the offensive. When asked about his super PACs, he turned around and he asked Sanders about his super PACs. And Biden was willing to name those super PACs. I'm not sure if Biden really had the name of all of them, but in any case, his bluff worked even if he didn't have the names of Sanders' super PACs.
Is that correct?
You get rid of the 9 super PACs you have?
I don't have 9 super. I don't have
You
any
have
super.
9. You want me to list them?
No, yeah, you go ahead and listen.
Okay, come on. Give me a break.
No, I won't give you a break on this one.
I realize that Biden has overcome some speaking difficulties in his past, but he does tend to mispronounce words from time to time. He said doesn't as compared to doesn't. These little mistakes make the audience pause for a second about what is that word exactly, and then they don't really listen to the rest of Biden's answer.
You have Hyde Amendment. A woman who doesn't have the money could not have.
When asked about would he select a woman as a vice presidential candidate, Biden said yes.
Vice President, if I could just follow up. Just to be clear, you just committed here tonight that your running mate, if you get the nomination, will be a woman?
Yes.
I think that this was a mistake because it doesn't give Biden any wiggle room. Bernie Sanders gave a much better answer because it gave him some wiggle room when he said, most likely yes.
In all likelihood, I will.
Biden would be a better debater if he would focus his answers as compared to going with the concept of the more I throw against the wall, the better it will be. His answers tend to be a little bit long and rambling as compared to being precise and make it easy for the audience to understand exactly what he did and exactly what he will do. Please leave any comments below and be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.